am so grateful to you. And if I had had Mayor Muhammad to introduce me at every step along the way of my political career, I would have never lost anything. So thank you, Mayor. And thank you, St. Joseph's Mayor, Brooke Thomas. Thank you, Representative Joey Andrews, County Commissioner Chokwe Pittsburgh, and Berrien County Democratic Chair Amy Scrima, and former U.S. Senator from Indiana, Senator Joe Donnelly and his wife are here, and I thank them. He's a good friend of mine, and he was a great senator. This is tight as a tick, this race. And I've always wanted, I loved doing this. When I volunteered to help Kamala Harris, and because Hillary and I endorsed her immediately, and Hillary had known her for 30 years. And I'd known her slightly less time, and I know her husband well. But when I volunteered to help, I said, you know, you need somebody to go to the country for you. Somebody that likes the little places. Somebody that grew up in this kind of culture. So the Democrats can easily get demonized out here because we normally carry all the cities. And the Republicans, especially Trump, is very good at sowing people's resentment, don't you know? And you got to give it to him. I mean, he's really good at it. He can blame and take credit better than anybody I ever saw. I mean, this is a beautiful town, and look at the weather. I mean, it's almost Halloween. It's a beautiful day. If Trump were here, he'd say, I did that. And then if you say, well, 3 days ago, it was raining. And he would say, but if I had been president, it never would have happened. Right? I mean, he's good at it. So we've got a clear choice here. We're going to vote for somebody who thrives on division and blame and making sure that there's problems for you to resent. Or are we going to vote for somebody who wants to ease our resentments and gets us to work together and actually solves problems? I came here today with two people that I love very much who have done a lot for Michigan. One is Gene Sperling from Ann Arbor, who was on my economic team when I was running for president in 1992. And he served under me and President Obama and President Biden, and he's helping Kamala Harris in this campaign. And he was legendary for never sleeping when he worked for me. And Hillary used to rag him all the time, saying, you know, Gene, I know you're brilliant and all that, and you're earnest, but if you never sleep, sooner or later you're going to break. He said, we say we're the administration of new ideas. Here's a new one. Sleep, Gene, sleep. Anyway, he's here, and he's from Ann Arbor. And Terry Krenvik was for years my scheduler in my post-presidential life and my golf partner, which is more important. And she came to work for Governor Whitmer. And she's one of the, as soon as I heard Terry was working here, I figured Gretchen was going to be all right because she knows how to take care of people. And I really, one other thing. You just got the money to get rid of all your lead pipes. And people all the time talk about infrastructure, and sometimes we don't know what they mean. But giving your kids clean water is an important part of infrastructure. If you live in a little rural area, being able to get affordable broadband is an important part of infrastructure. And this is one good way to measure where we are today. When they ran against each other, Donald Trump and Joe Biden both promised us an infrastructure bill. Only Biden delivered one. And there are now something like 60,000 of these projects going on all across America. In every little community, big and small, there'll soon be more than 100,000. And there'll be enormous numbers of jobs created. And I want you to talk to people about here, because we got a fair number of Republican voters. I know that, but I also know there's a lot of Republican office holders who've endorsed Kamala Harris because they believe in the Constitution and the rule of law. But here's their strategy. They essentially want to run the same sort of con game they ran in 2016. In 2016, they said, oh, this economy is terrible. It was producing 8 million jobs a year the last 2 years of Barack Obama's economy. But when things have been stuck for a while, it is not unusual for them to get better for 2 or 3 years before a majority of the people feel it. And you understand that. You get used to something being bad, and it takes a while before you feel it. When I came here running for president, and Michigan was so good to me, and I should have, because there was a huge number of people from Arkansas living in Michigan. They would come there, a huge number, because nobody could make a living in Arkansas after World War II, and we all came up to Michigan. But what struck me about it all was that what Trump believed was shown to me earlier, because I ran up here and I told you, I said, this trickle-down economics is no good. And it's given us high interest rates, declining middle-class incomes, increasing poverty among working people. If you vote for me, I'll fix it. I'll increase dramatically what we're investing in training and education and promoting manufacturing. We'd been losing manufacturing jobs like crazy. And we gained manufacturing jobs for 68 years I was president. And we kept playing down the deficit, which I promised you I would do. But I remind you that trickle-down economics, which was a theory that if you cut rich people's taxes, they'll invest it all and we'll have a booming economy and everything will be high. I said, you know, it defies arithmetic. And I'm just an old-fashioned guy. I went to public school in Arkansas. I never stopped trying to apply arithmetic. But I warned that it would take a while before people would believe it. And we got the living daylights beat out of us in the 1994 midterms because people didn't feel it yet. 2 years later, we were rocking, and I soared for re-election, but I never got over those people who served, who voted, who made all these changes possible and gave up their careers in Congress. And I swear for 15 years, some night I'd wake up in a cold sweat thinking about people who were able servants and lost their careers. But we did it. Now, Trump, he's just the reverse. He waits for other people to do the hard stuff, and then he tries to swoop in and take the credit. So he basically is saying, you know, it was good when I was president. We had 2 years of jobs and no inflation. And then look what happened under Biden. We had inflation. Never mind, we had the infrastructure bill, the CHIPS Act, and all these other important initiatives that were setting the seeds for enormous growth. So Trump is hoping to get a twofer here. He said, I suckered them once, and I just rode the tail end of the recovery that started under Obama and claimed credit for it. Sun's up this morning, I did it. And then he wants to do it again. He knows that we're about to, we're going to have an explosive next few years because of the work that has been done. There's going to be a lot of Benton Harbors where the lead pipes were taken out and where the children are drinking safe water and where our future is brighter. There are more and more people. I was in western Pennsylvania, where Pennsylvania is where the first commercial oil well was in America, in way over 100 years ago, and 1859, I think. And now, 3 times as many people in Pennsylvania are working in solar and wind and geothermal energy as in the coal. So this is happening. What he believes is that he'll get the benefit of it. And then he will have to keep his promise to the big oil. Because the other day he said, and he did this in front of God and everybody. I mean, right there on the internet, he said to the big oil barons, he said, you owe me. And I expect you to give me $1 billion. And when you do, I will undo every single energy advance that's been undertaken in the Biden-Harris years. And we need to talk about that. Because, like I said, we're about to finish 4 years where we created more jobs in 4 years than in any 4-year term in American history. And he's promising to undo it. He can't replace the fact that we are now producing more energy than we consume, because we have both natural gas and some oil and a huge amount of solar, wind, and geothermal and other stuff. We got it all, and we've got more than we can say grace over, and it's driving down the price of fuel again, which you've doubtless noticed. And so if he has to keep his promise, price of gasoline is going to go back up. If he actually puts a tariff on every single thing that we buy from another country, whether we can use it or not, that is, if we can make something here, it might be all right. That's what we did with the CHIPS Act. We're going to say we don't want to depend on China anymore because we're not sure we can rely on them. So we'll put a tariff on this, and we'll build these electric chips, these nano chips here, and we'll do great. And that's true. That's true. A company called Micron is putting in 60,000 jobs in the Syracuse, New York area. And they beat Texas out of the jobs. Broke my heart. But look, they're all our American, but the point is we had fair competition and they won. But if you put a tariff on something that we're not going to produce, And there's a bunch of stuff, right? They just put the tariff on the price. So we're going to increase the price of millions of things by somewhere between 10 and 20%. And it's going to cost, according to a non-political group of economic analysts, the average middle-class family about $4,000 a year. So she has got a plan that's going to create more jobs, raise incomes, move us forward, and help to slow inflation in food and fuel and housing, with millions of more houses, and the first time we've ever had help for new homeowners making a down payment. That's what she wants to do. And he is going to have a fist in the air proclaiming victory for doing nothing on this stuff and raising the cost of a family's out-of-pocket expenses. So that's my main pitch, folks. His economic plan is better, but so is his health care plan. They're gonna take away protections for people with pre-existing conditions, just like they tried to do when he won before, and only John McCain stopped him in the Senate. They're gonna. I mean, they just can't help it. But you can. So, I want, we're not going back. But if you don't want to go back, then you got to outnumber those who want to. And that's the last thing I want to say. I know it's close to the election, but you can still talk somebody into voting that wasn't going to. You can still explain these things that I've tried to explain. I'm old. I don't make many speeches anymore. I just try to explain stuff. But my presidency worked out pretty well for you. And look, and the good thing about me is I want nothing. I don't want an appointment. I don't want anything. I am doing this for my grandchildren's future and for yours. And so, please, I know both Vice President Harris and President Trump. I know something about the job. I've seen them in different circumstances. I'm telling you, it's not close who would be the better president. It is not close. I think their chances are excellent that Kamala Harris will be a first-rate president, do a great job, take care of people that would otherwise be overlooked, left out, and left behind, and bring us all together. And I am sick and tired of these elections where we spend all our time bad-mouthing each other. And so I want to ask you to take these last few days and try to find some more votes. Either try to get them to decide to vote for Harris and Waltz, who's a great guy, by the way, or get them to decide to switch. And you can't do that by calling people names. You can't. You got to basically approach people with an outstretched hand, not a clenched fist. You got to say, look, I just believe that we're better working together than fighting. I just believe that what we have in common is more important than our interesting differences. And I'll leave you with this thought. Here we are at World Series time. We're here at very near the college football playoffs. The pro season's gone off long enough that we know that the Lions are a good team and we're going to do a lot of stuff. This has all happened. We know this. Why do we love all this stuff? Because we like the competition and because we think it's on the level. Right? we play football and baseball under the same set of rules. We know every now and then an umpire or a referee will make a wrong call. And we bend over backwards to help correct it with, the replay and all that. But essentially, we think we all should live under the same set of rules. And as Mr. Trump has made clear to me, publicly and privately over many years, that's the last thing they believe. They don't believe that. They believe an election is honest if they always win. They want people to come to work for them that will always do what they're told to do. And if you've been reading about it, they've been planning. Even the most conservative judicial organizations, they're not going to recommend judges anymore because they might read the Constitution different. They only want people who will rubber stamp whatever they want. And I'm telling you, it's not good for America. I have made a lot of decisions in my life as a governor, as a president, and I know diverse groups make better decisions and better advisors than lone geniuses. So don't feel any pressure, but you could be saving America here. And we need you. So keep a song in your heart and a smile on your face and go win this election. Thank you. Bless you.